A very long time ago, I released this ignorant video on fighting games. Dear God, what were you doing? It was a video full of ignorance and anger for the genre, something I'm trying to avoid as of late. My frustration stemmed from a lot of places, but one big point with fighting games was that I was never quite sure where to start. I'd load into a lobby with a friend or random online who was way better than me and just get shredded to pieces, and leave the match going, wow, I fucking suck at this game, and that wasn't really fun. How do people enjoy this? I'd try this time and time again over the years, hoping that each subsequent attempt would be different, that this time I'd learn properly and things would really get swinging. And somehow, my attempts at metaphorically banging my head against the wall with fighting games worked eventually. Whether it was a willingness to learn the genre that I hadn't approached with previously, or it finally decided to just click, on my 5th attempt I dialed in, really engaged with the genre, and I was ready to get my skill level to whatever it needed to be to have fun with the game. I chose Guilty Gear because I was a huge fan of the music and characters. I had to continue the stereotype, plus the games just seemed so cool. I had played Giovanna on release, and a little Testament again when they released, but it never really stuck with me then. This time though, it would be different. When it came time to select the character I'd learn, my focus had all but locked in on a single character. Chip Zaneth. Not only did he look awesome, but he had some of the fastest attacks in the game, and it was a ninja, like, come on. I spent some time familiarizing myself with what each of his individual buttons did, then spent the next hour or so drilling his bread and butter combo into my head. Now, this combo might not look like much, but to someone getting into fighting games, it was very tough to get a grasp of how this all strung together. The concept of canceling moves into each other and buffering inputs during the active frame of another move, I honestly didn't know how it all worked, just that I was doing what the inputs on screen told me and getting results. It was around this point I decided, okay, that's all I need. I just need to go in and hit this combo. Surely I can get a few wins here or there.
Oh my goodness!
If every loss I experienced cost me $5, I'd be in severe debt. In practice, so many things would get in the way of hitting that combo. The enemy would hold crouch block like their life depended on it. Okay, now what? Keep pushing buttons and pray the combo works? The enemy would mash buttons like crazy and never go on the defense in the first place. Now I'm in their combo, or I'm blocking and I don't know how to get out of it. I'd land the initial hit or a stray hit with another button and panic, fumbling the combo and mashing buttons hoping something connected. I soon realized a fact of fighting games that never changes. Losing is integral to the experience. And I don't mean just the match as a whole. Even something like losing a small interaction is a key part of the genre. Winning doesn't teach you anything, but losing, you learn a lot by losing. The enemy crouch blocked my attack that would start my combo. Okay, how do I beat that? Well, I can run up, grab, 6k, tap dust, do a silly little jump and hit him from the air, start my record to make him guess high or low, whoa. What is all that? Well, I didn't know either, but I got so tired of people cosplaying turtles, I naturally started to learn what can open up a defense, and in turn, I learned how to run a better offense, and before I knew it, I was having fun? I had fixated myself so much on not being able to have fun until reaching a certain point, some arbitrary skill level that seemed so far out of reach that I hadn't realized a big part of the fun of fighting games was learning. Seeing an opponent do something that beat me, it was no longer, damn, I fucking suck at this game. Well, okay, that still happens sometimes. It was, how do I beat it? I had gone from blaming the beasts to reflecting on myself. The mashing enemy problem from earlier, people who just don't want to stop pressing buttons, that meant it was time to play safe and reactively, so I could catch them throwing out a big move or approaching with reckless abandon, punish them, and win. In a matter of days, my mindset had shifted into something healthy and positive for growth instead of self-destructive and dismissive, and without even realizing it, I had hit the skill level I had strived for in the beginning. Okay, cool. I'd gotten a good idea of the basics at this point and figured it was time to learn new combos on Chip, and found this flashy for fun combo while searching around. After a considerable amount of time, I was finally able to land it. Unfortunately, this was the beginning of the end for me, as I realized it wasn't winning or losing that mattered anymore. Optimal was a word that meant nothing. I wanted to do really, really cool shit.
Worldwide like tiger, walk in the park, play the hero till I die, fly like an eagle, soar through the sky, be free.
And then I got O2'd at my local. Not necessarily a bad thing, it's a humbling rite of passage that I think everyone goes through at some point, to stack up against someone who really plays your game. It checks you. To be honest, my fundamentals were terrible compared to what they are now. I got zoned out while playing the fastest character in the game live on stream, and got heavy burst baited in losers. My partner, who had brought me, they were expecting me to be demotivated, my drive to play be completely drained, but I was the opposite. I wanted to get better, so I could hit all that flashy stuff I loved hitting against people who really played Guilty Gear. At work, I'd catch myself thinking about different combos I could do, or different ways to answer a certain character's pressure, or anything and everything about how to make myself better. I had become to Guilty Gear what Waka was to Blitzball.
But every time my mind wandered, I thought about the game.
I was in the honeymoon phase with fighting games, a beautiful time of learning, and I even branched out to try other games. Street Fighter 6 felt like I was glued to the floor, and I wasn't even going to try Tekken 8, but there was one game that did strike my fancy, and that was Under Night In-Birth 2 Sis Celeste 358 over 2 days Final Mix, or Uni 2. Uni had a wealth of characters all wholly unique and busted in their own ways, and in the same way I was instantly enthralled with Chip, Enkidu called out to me like my car keys after 2 beers. Initially, he just seems like a typical brute rushdown who desperately wants to get in on the opponent and run strike throw or something. But when you start to look at his mechanics, you see his Havoc gimmick rewards whiff punishes, and the slow realization that gaslighting my opponent was the best strategy just put a crooked smile on my face. Sadly, at this point, I realized I was slowly beginning to get burnt out. Uni 2 was fun, but it didn't scratch the same itch as Guilty Gear, and it was also impossible to get my friends to try it even when it was on sale. I felt like I was hitting a wall with Chip, and I found myself just getting frustrated at failures instead of learning from them. This is another inevitability of fighting games: feeling stuck. I took a short break, a month or two, to go play other stuff, but it wasn't long before the gear called out to me again. So I came back with purpose, to learn a new character and broaden my overall understanding of the game. I tried Kai at first, just to get some fundamentals work in and practice running basic strike-throw offense. While I enjoyed his playstyle a lot, at the end of the day, he's just a good character to have in your pocket. He didn't have that feel I liked. It's a hard thing to explain. Jacko was the next character I tried, and I felt like I was fighting myself more than I was my opponent. Seriously, Jacko is really hard to learn, and while I'm sure I would have fun with her after getting her basics down, I was having a miserable time trying to apply anything I had learned in an actual match. I learned to play Bridget at a basic level because I had to, and then I tried Elfelt. Once again, no dice. Even though I started winning consistently with her far quicker than with anyone else I tried, her game plan was far too simple, and the lack of player expression really just soured me on her character as a whole. I began to think that while this experimentation with other characters was good for me, I'd never find someone that clicked the same way Chip did. And yet... Sin. What a character. He has a lot going for him, and again I sink my teeth into a character with tons of expression and cool routing. His resource management in a loose sort of way, where running out means you're a lot less threatening, but you're also not ABBA. Sin himself is also just full of joy and whimsy, and that sort of energy just makes me happy. It also helps that hitting the 2-frame window for the clean hit on his Tyrant barrel might actually be my favorite thing to do in this game, especially since the timing changes based on positioning and the screen freezes for a second, and it's basically a black flash. More time would pass as I practice and learn more till we finally catch up to where I am currently. I've gotten a lot more experience under my belt, and I tried out even more characters and games like ABBA and Melty Blood. While it's cool to hit the Emperor Palpatine on people, and it's an interesting puzzle to start the match on the back foot and figure out how to get in your advantage state versus each individual character, I was once again often pretty miserable learning her. She's just not my type of character. Melty Blood has been a blast to learn so far, and also technically has the biggest cast of characters I've ever seen in a fighting game. In Strive, I can pretty consistently hit silly Chip tightrope stuff and generally have a better understanding of every option he has available, and I can only keep learning from here. My only big problem is I often completely fumble around after the voice in my head says, "Wouldn't it be really funny if you did this stupid thing.
Alright, I'll just do it again.
So, am I gonna top 8 at EVO or something? No, probably never. But the satisfaction and fun that comes with improving yourself for the sake of improvement, paired with the sense of community in the FGC, will probably keep me around for a while. A strong reversal from how I used to feel about the genre. It just goes to show how important it is to keep an open mind. Hatred, especially blind, can cloud you from seeing things clearly. Life is too short to live filled with animosity. But also fuck this character.